everybody. Welcome to Anime Sickos, the podcast for geniuses and the only podcast where we look at the four pillars of modern misery: anime, gaming, posting, and jobs. I am Tom, an anime sicko.
I am Joe, an anime sicko. Previously, on the 100th episode, I might have spoken about a restaurant called Kong Dog, and I might have said that, like, it took away my breakfast cafe, this sort of very important ritual I had. I talked about this, right, Tom?
Yeah, we mentioned that, like, this place definitely, like, Kong Dog sucks, that corn dogs blow ass, and that this was awful that this new place existed, and that it made the world worse, and that there's nothing good about it. And one thing, Joe, that I'm sure of, and I'll be the first to admit, my eyes are going to bug out like a cartoon wolf if I'm proven wrong on this. One thing I know for sure is that we were definitely right, and nothing could change your opinion.
So here's the thing. I went, and it was clearly what I was talking about before when I was running my mouth. I was standing in the way of progress, is what I was doing because like. So here's how it works. When you order your Kong Dong, it's Kong Dong. It's fine. It's what it fucking is. You get to pick the filling because they probably have an insane machine back there because the filling comes in two versions, which is mozzarella or hot dog.
Wait, whoa. This is new information.
Yeah.
I was about to, Joe, I was straight up about to fucking stop you and say, like, Joe, you need to re-record that. You misspoke and said filling when you meant topping.
No, I mean absolutely filling. And you can get it half and half, which is what I've gotten. I've now gotten two Kong dogs.
You went back?
Yes, I went back. Also, I complained about how, like, all my cafe things are gone. Basically, all the shit that I got there is still there. It's just at a place called Kong Dog now. It's fine.
Yeah, okay. You told me, like, and
I thought so too, because the sign's gone, because the inside's all different. Yes, but no, they just have, like, all the cafe stuff, like, in a little corner.
I want to confirm with you, because you told me the following piece of information, which I could not believe is correct, and I was feeling like, later on he'll amend this as he gathers more data. You told me that they had exactly the same drink menu as the coffee shop bakery at Kong Dong, the corn dog store.
Yes, which includes milk teas.
What the Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's really good. Their most popular item is, like, this cinnamon milk tea, and I know this because, like, I've been in there during lunchtime, and it's, like, just, like, groups of women from, like, the hospital nearby will be like, can we have 9 of these? we need them. They're very good. They're very good.
This raises a very interesting thought, which is, if it's the same cafe equipment, the same drink menu, was there even a replacement, or did the owner of this coffee shop just be like, you know what, this whole, like, cozy pastry coffee shop with sandwiches theme is just a load of shit. It's holding us back. You know what we need to become is we need to pivot to corn dogs.
It really feels like the business decision was, we're going to get nutty. Like, that's what's going to happen. No, we're going to keep 90% of everything else the same, but we're going to have this X factor. I don't know if I said this before, but there's also, like, in the dining area, the place where you sit at the table, there's LCD screens in, like, a 3x3 grid, which just really just shovels through short videos of people eating this corn dog, and it's, like, obviously very sexual. Like, here's the thing. I used to think it was sexual when I was in there, and I was like, my cafe's gone. This is horny. I hate it. It was sexual, but now that I've had it twice, I now think it's normal.
Those are dog sucking lips. Those are the normal way to eat corn dogs most efficiently.
It's fine. It's fine.
I do want to just say, I'm looking at the menu. You sent me the menu. This is back when you were on my side and you were anti-corn dog, and then you had a Kong dog and changed and went over to the evil team. They offer 8 kinds of corn dog.
half of them a dessert.
Yeah, these are like treat dogs. So you got your cinnamon Kong dong. You have, and this is really perverted, you have sweet potato Kong dong. Now I really am against this push to make sweet potato part of like the fast food experience. It just doesn't go. It's not. It'll never meet normal potatoes. There's a churro Kong dong, which you're like, oh, this is interesting because like another tube-based treat, but now it's churro. But then you read the fine print, they're trying to trick you. Because what it actually is it's just the sweet potato Kong dong with cinnamon on it, and they're calling that a churro.
I think the owner has a bunch of sweet potatoes they're trying to get rid of. I think they have like a supply problem.
Yo, and it's true that there's no way you can square sweet potatoes with the concept they used to have. Like, how are you going to sell a sweet potato at like the sandwich shop? Sweet potato sandwich? No, thank you.
There is one thing that I don't approve of still, though. Like, I got the potato one, which... So, Tom, could you describe it? You're looking at the menu. Like, the potato one is a bunch of fried potatoes around a corn dog, and the experience is like you have to eat a baked potato before you can start eating a corn dog, is how it is.
Like, a lot of these, most of the corn dogs, because there's pictures on the menu, they look like a corn dog that someone's put a flavorful dust, possibly a sauce on top of.
Okay, so that's the fucked up part. So when I ordered this potato one, it was a normal interaction, and then she was like, "Oh, do you want sugar on it?" Because that's like a standard offering, and I like that's fucked up.
God, like, yeah, I'm just looking at the potato one, and it's a corn dog, and then someone has like taped a bunch of D6s to it.
Yeah,
like
they're
looks
crispy dice.
Yeah. Joe, I'm so disappointed that you've gone over to the Kong dong dark side. I don't know. I probably would like these. That's so disappointing. Fuck.
Yeah. I mean, like we'll go eat it, and then you'll be asked if you want sugar on it. It'll be fine.
Joe, I don't think we're going to have enough time to do a full Ann Bernicos segment where we talk about the Ann Bernick Chinese crime Game Boy with emulators on it that we love playing so much. But I do have some quick Ann Bernick updates that I think are pretty funny. So, we've talked in the past how having like all of the documentation and tech support and information about different topics exist solely on Discords is the most stupid and unintuitive shit in the world. So you can imagine how disappointed I've been to have to join the 351 ELEC Discord, which is the Discord for 351 ELEC, a custom firmware for the Ann Bernick that is basically like a completely new OS that is just much better and more powerful than the one it comes with in every way.
You're saying a bunch of nerd shit.
Yeah. It's just a fucking thing that you put on your SD card that makes your Ann Bernick play the games better. And like, it's really cool because it's constant. Like, recently got a major update. Like, it has a dev team that's like working on it all the time. And they're pretty active on the Discord, like, because people will come in with their, something's not working for me. I don't know how to get this to happen. My settings aren't saving. And like, within a pretty short amount of time, the devs will answer and like have an answer for them. Here's what's funny though, is that all the people in charge of making 351 ELEC seem as though like not only have they never played a video game before, they don't understand why anyone would.
Ever since I made this firmware, people are coming up to me asking questions about Mario. Oh, I hate it.
like there was one guy who was like, hey, ever since the update, I can't toggle fast forward mode. the only way fast forward mode works is if I hold it down. If I hold down the hotkey, it fast forward. But then as soon as I let go, it's back to normal speed. And it used to work like a toggle. Like I would press it once and it would be fast forwarded until I pressed it again. Why did it change? And how can I put it back? Now, if you were a normal person, you would answer that question. But if you're a weird freak who develops 351 elect and has power over people, what you would do is say, what could the possible use case be for toggling fast forward? Joe, could you think of one?
Yeah, just fucking play every JRPG in an eighth of the time.
Yeah. I'm playing Final Fantasy II right now, the Game Boy Advance remake, and I've only played it on fast forward. And like yesterday, just for like a death drive kind of thing, like when the waiter says this plate's very hot and you touch the plate, I turned it on normal speed, and that shit is unfucking played.
Yeah.
Your guy doesn't move. He crawls on his belly. He is so slow.
On Pokemon Stadium, if you beat a bunch of shit, you would unlocked a mode where you could play your Game Boy game plugged in at like 4x speed, and obviously that makes grinding and raising your Pokemons very easy. But as a kid, I had that sensation where I was like, okay, I'm time to get in the car and play Pokemon at regular speed. What? I've fallen out of time. Like
Another great fucking thing that this same dev said. Someone was like, "Hey, on the new update on the Dreamcast, the R and L buttons are now mapped to R2 and L2 instead of R1 and L1." Now I know that the Dreamcast emulator for this machine doesn't have remapping, but I was wondering why the new update changed the control mapping. Like, why don't you go back to how it was before? Like, why did you change it? And is there a way that you could change it back? And the guy responded with, R2 and L2 are the trigger buttons.
You can't argue with that. Because you can't explain to this person like why the slightly different mapping might be more comfortable now. That is not information they are capable of processing, I think.
Yeah, the original poster was like, well, the thing is, the Dreamcast only had one set of shoulder buttons. It was L and R. There were no triggers. It was just L and R. And on the Anbernic, it's a lot harder to reach R2 and L2. It's much more convenient to press L1, R1, and L1. And since there's only one set of shoulder buttons, why wouldn't you put it on the first one? And he just responded again, on the Dreamcast, L and R are the triggers. I put them on the trigger buttons. And I think at that point, the original poster realized there was no talking to this man and gave up.
You tried.
Another one. Oh man, another one was like, hey, is anybody having any problems trying to run MVC2? Now, Joe, what do you think that guy meant by MVC2?
Could only mean Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Tom. Especially if we're talking about a Dreamcast game. I mean, like, that's like the main one.
Yeah, so the dev showed up and said, why does everyone expect that I'll know what their little acronyms mean?
I love it.
I love it. Yeah, no, it's like I said how annoyed I was because they had a question and I went into the Discord and I asked it and it got an answer. I wish it was on a wiki or like an FAQ somewhere so other people could see it, but I did get the answer to my question. I stayed on the Discord because this shit's real funny. I just love that this guy, when this guy is confronted with like things he hasn't done on the software, his initial reaction is always, without fail, I can't imagine why anyone would ever need this. So shut up.
Well, that's a good approach if you work at a big company.
It's true. Well, he doesn't. He works making a crime OS for free. And Joe, Here's another awful thing. You know Russ from Retro Games Core?
Yeah, he's the guy who very thoroughly teaches everyone how to use your ROMs.
Yeah, he's the Mr. Crime. And we were talking about how he's the ultimate YouTube doer and how he's like an angel from another dimension who doesn't belong in this world because he does everything on his YouTube channel like to prioritize like ease of use and like informational conveyance. And he doesn't like try to build his brand. Well, once again, we are made the bitch idiot of the universe because Russ has started showing his face on the videos now, and everything I've trusted is gone, and we've become liars.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with his face. It's just that we said we thought we had found the one person on YouTube that doesn't have their mouth open a little bit on a thumbnail, and we did up until that point. But history won't be kind to us because people aren't going to like look at the dates and see how this lines up. They're just going to think we're liars.
The worst thing was that it wasn't even like Russ face reveal. I was just like watching him like review 3D printed grips for the Anbernic, and then it like just cut to his fucking face, and I'm like, ah!
It should only be the little device.
Yes, yeah, it should be his fucking like Alvin brand like design board with like the lines, the green one that you do exacto cutting on. It should have been that with his fucking devices on it only. But now I have to see Russ. It's so disappointing. I did buy a 3D printed grip though. It's not here yet because when I ordered from 3D Printing Leonard on Etsy, I did not know that 3D Printing Leonard was in Australia. So I have made.
Yeah, he's in the Dune Rats, man.
Yeah, he's on Smoko, dude. I made him spend 10 cents worth of fucking plastic coil to make a 3D printed grip for my Anbernic.
At which point he steps out of his house and throws it onto a passing container ship.
Yeah, surely now hundreds of gallons of jet fuel are going to be burned, shortening the planet's life such that my little 10-cent piece of plastic tchotchke can get to my home. Feels great.
Well, I hope at least that your tchotchke isn't the only thing on the plane, but, you know, I don't know.
Who knows when they do things down under?
Yeah.
Fuck. We're the anime sickos, and we're here to say anime is bad in a war crimes way.
Tom, you have recently re-engaged with an idea that you really tossed around a lot, very aggressively at the start of the show, and we never indulged it, which is that Prestige TV is anime.
Yeah.
And something recently happened where, following the last episode, someone said something along those lines, and it reactivated your mind.
Yeah, I remembered all my karate moves. Someone said that Mr. Robot was anime. I talked about Mr. Robot last episode, which is definitely Prestige TV. And they said it's anime. And I'm like, oh my god! I remember now. I'm Jason Bourne. And yeah, this is an idea that I've been wanting to do since basically the beginning, because one of the things that we said at the beginning of the show was something to the effect of like the US has no equivalent to anime in the way that it's a sort of weird impenetrable genre that has goofy shit that you can't find anywhere else. And I wanted to do an episode where it's like, well, the one exception is Prestige TV, because, like, isn't it kind of funny to think that? Like, you wouldn't think that, right? But wait till you hear me explain it. And Joe did a very valiant job of playing defense for 100 episodes.
Yeah.
I doubt anyone could ask for more from him.
I agree with the premise, too, because, like, I just didn't want to do it. And this is why I agree with it. I think of, like, what is anime at its stupidest? I think about, like, how many different hair colors there are in Dragon Ball, okay? Like, you have all these very specific names in the wiki. Like, that's, to me, like, representative of, like, the glut of anime and what we associate with, like, the real sickdom. How is that different knowing all those hair colors, how is that different than knowing like all the family relationships around town for like Ozark, the crime show with Jason Bateman that is like Arrested Development but not funny? It's scary.
Prestige TV is fucking anime because it is exactly that, Joe, because like it sort of has a different feel to it because anime is clearly trash and Prestige TV sort of puts on airs that it is highbrow. But like anime, if you watch Prestige TV, you are like dialed into every single thing that's going on. And you're constantly like you're making theories about what's gonna happen, and you're like mapping the arcs. I mean, there's arcs, dude. There's arcs in Prestige TV, just like in anime. And another thing that makes Prestige TV very anime is that if you are on the outside looking in, it looks like the most fucking impenetrable cult shit. Case in point, everyone's talking about Succession. hearing me go like, oh my goodness, Diaz Drake is really showing his colors as he fights with Scratch Menapu, but CP0 is showing up, and won't things be thrown askew when they enter the ring? Like, that sounds fucked, and it's like, that's definitely anime. But like, I see people being like, yo, Shiv thought Tom was Kendall, but then Logan did a Roman, and everyone's like, oh, he did a oh my god! And I'm just like, well, for one, anime at least, when it has people saying character names that, like, as though I'm supposed to fucking know what they are, they're not, like, normal person names. That's the most annoying, especially because one of the characters in Succession is named Tom. Like, because I'll see people like, I can't believe what they did to Tom. And I'm like, what did they do to me? What are you talking about?
Anime also does the thing where you yell the name of the move you're doing. I think Prestige TV could benefit from, like, that bluntness.
That is true. But that's a difference between Prestige TV and anime. That's not what we're trying to do. You know what? Here's a difference that's actually the same. So we've talked about how anime, a lot of what makes it great is there's a screaming teen who's surpassing a limit.
Or about to.
Yeah, so you might be thinking, well, Tom, Prestige TV doesn't do that. Your premise fails on its face. Well, here's the thing. It's a dark mirror. Instead of a screaming teen about to surpass a limit, the equivalent is a stern man who's about to be disappointed.
Yeah. The more serious and dire the man becomes.
Yes. I think, okay, you know what? Here's what I think is like the alchemy that creates the perfect Prestige TV to anime one-on-one connection. Because I'm not going to tell you that all Prestige TV shows are 100% anime. Certainly there's a gradient. They have to have your perfect combo of extremely impenetrable to outsiders, plus lots of random nudity. Got to be horny. It's got to have a cat girl on the ice. Like, you have to, like, Succession, apparently, the character Shiv got a huge fucking butt. They got to be showing that, and people got to be talking about it. And also, it has to, like, kind of suck. Like, it has to be, like, not good. Like, Mr. Robot is great with that. Like, I love Mr. Robot, and it's good, but it also, like, kind of sucks.
Isn't everyone talking about the huge ass in the new JoJo season 2?
That's true. Yo! That's a great connection. Yeah, have you watched any of Stone Ocean, the new JoJo part?
All I know nothing. All I know is that we have a female lead, and that there's a guy with a wagon.
Yeah. So the second stand user that Jolene fights, he's introduced to us, the viewers, as he's in the men's prison, which is like across the way from the women's prison, and he's in the prison showers. And they just, like, zoom the fuck in on his ass, and it's it really just, like, it shows...
It's dangerous. It's not safe.
It pushes the limits of anime, because you realize that, like, they could make the ass any size. They just, like, because you look at the ass, and you're like, no one would ever think to make an ass this big. But, like, then you realize all they had to do was like move the pencil a little different, and it made the ass. I cannot like, if you haven't seen John Gallier in Stone Ocean, like, you are whatever you're imagining in your head now is smaller than his ass. And also, I'm sure that in your head you're imagining it's on screen for less time than it is. It's like a good 30 seconds of just different angles of his very wet, like 20-pound ass. You know what it is? You know what it looks like? The fucking Dr. Manhattan meme where he's got a fucking dumper.
Yes. At least he should. If you make that meme now and you don't make his ass big, like, you just missed an opportunity.
Here's another thing that makes prestige TV like anime. If you meet like a big time anime fan, like someone who self-identifies as an anime fan, like,
they're
you
fucked
know,
up, right?
Yeah, you're in for a bad time. Now, we know that. Like, that's in the ledgers. No one's arguing that. Now, Joe, I'm going to posit to you a new scenario. And I want you to know, and I want to hear how you would feel if this scenario happened to you. You meet a guy who is like a Breaking Bad guy. He's like self-identifies as like, I'm a Breaking Bad fanatic. How differently are you feeling than if you had met an anime guy?
I'm more interested in this Breaking Bad guy because there's less of him. But I don't. I'm not interested in exploring that venue of his life thoroughly. And I've seen Breaking Bad, and like I enjoyed watching it, and I watched it as it aired, and that was fun. That said, I don't want to talk to this guy about it.
Exactly. And you say, well, there's less of him, I'm more interested. Like, well, okay, then replace the anime guy with a guy who's less into anime, sort of like a bit as like a whole genre, but like he's all about like Mazen Kaiser. Like, that's the only thing he wants to talk about. He wants to show you his Mazen Kaiser figures. Like, that guy and the Breaking Bad guy, in what way are they functionally different?
Oh, in that case, not very. I mean, you have someone his interests are honed like a knife.
Yes, exactly.
And they're pointing it at your throat.
They're threatening you with. Okay, I'm glad you agree with me. Another way that anime and prestige TV are the same. One thing about anime that a lot of shows in America don't have is there's going to be like big changes. Like when there's a new arc, the whole focus of what's going on, the setting, the villains, they're going to totally change. Let's look at Hunter x Hunter as an example. We start off with a bunch of little babies who are trying to win a tournament where people get impaled on spikes, and people try to give you diarrhea. And then all of a sudden we change completely. Half of our cast, they're gone. We fuck them. We don't look at them anymore. Instead, we're in a big fighting tower, and we need to get to the top. We get like 2/3 up, and our heroes say good enough. Then they're out of the picture, and we follow a new guy who's depressed. It's a noir now, and all of his friends get killed as he's bodyguarding the mafia. And then it's bugs. The big bugs happen, and they eat people. Like, shit's happening constantly. Things are changing. Everyone's on the edge of their seat. Like, what's going to happen next? Now, in a normal American show, they say take a sitcom, for example, or your USA Network dramas like Burn Notice. Every fucking episode's exactly the same. You know exactly what you're going to get. It's the same every time. Now take, for example, Prestige TV. Oh, now we're back on that anime shit. Every fucking season of Mr. Robot is so different, sometimes to its massive detriment. Season 1 is all about the big hack. It's Fight Club inspired, and much like Fight Club, there's a big hack that takes down the credit card companies. Season 2, you're like, I wonder what's that's gonna be about. Well, it's about how the main character, the hacker, the hero, is so like fucked up from everything that happened in season 1 that he just like sits out half the season. He's like, I can't engage with any of this. It's too much. So he's just like not really there. And all the scenes with him, he's kind of just sort of fucking around by himself. And then everyone else is just sort of dealing with the aftermath of the hack, which turns out like it didn't really like do what they wanted. Like it just made everything scarier, and now people want to kill them. And so they're all just hanging out in houses being like, I hope no one comes to kill us. Ah, geez.
Their wanted level went up.
Yeah, exactly that. And see, that's a very anime turn of events. You have a very different arc. The manga could clearly felt like he had pulled off this one type of arc and he wanted to change the script up. And then his editor came to him and said, Sam Esmail, I am sad to inform you that no one is watching Mr. Robot. Please have plot occur. And then season 3 comes in and we got our big action set pieces back.
This makes me think of The Wire now, which, you know, every season is very much a different focus.
Yeah, it's like JoJo's in that way.
Yeah, and they're the same.
Joe, your read on this. Thank you. You've done me a good job getting my point across. Oh God, fuck. Another reason anime and prestige TV are similar. You're gonna log on to Netflix. You're gonna see a whole shit ton of examples of both genres that are weird and that no one has seen. For example, take Ozark. Joe, you've watched Ozark, and even you haven't watched Ozark.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like a Bermuda Triangle situation. Like I sit down and watch it, and time goes by, but I don't remember anything.
Yeah,
that happens.
Like similarly, like if anyone tries to step to me and tell me, like, Tom, I have watched Violet Evergarden, I would be just like, no, you didn't. Like, shut up. Stop lying. You're not going to trick me. Like, nobody did that.
I think this is the biggest example in favor that it's all the same, this anime and prestige TV, which is when Game of Thrones was happening, everyone was talking about it, and there was just pointless sex happening all the time. And that was the same experience of like watching Gurren Lagann, and it's just like, why is the sniper like so nude?
Yes, this is what I'm saying. It needs to have. See, Game of Thrones, I think, was the perfect prestige TV's anime because let's look at the triumvirate.
Because it sucked. It always sucked.
The triumvirate of things that makes prestige TV an anime. It is impenetrable to outsiders. Like nothing could be more. In fucking Game of Thrones, they spell Sir like a knight. You know how knights is Sir so-and-so? They spell Sir S-E-R for no fucking reason. Just to confuse you. And they have all their fake fucking town names, and everyone's named fucked shit. Impenetrable. And then random horniness. There's cat girls on the ice constantly. There's just boobies flopping around. Also, sucks. I think that speaks for itself. I've actually been watching... God, I didn't even remember I was watching this. I was watching recently the prestige TV show Black Sails about the golden age of piracy, but real, not Luffy, not One Piece, real pirates. And that is so fucking anime because it's all about all these characters who are constantly wanting something. They have great amounts of resolve. They want to surpass their limits being how much gold they have. And there's just, Joe, the amount of yabos on screen per episode is just frankly nauseating. The only saving grace, I will say, is that in 2.5 seasons, there have been 3 instances, if I recall correctly, of like full on, not glancing, like extended full frontal dick nudity. However, they were soft, which again, come on. Have a little bit of effort. If you look at the logic of the scene, they would be hard right now. Anyway, the point being...
the dick inspector's here, and you're all going to get failing grades.
The point being, this show is fucking anime. You know how it was? There was a flashback. That's another thing. Lost was a classic example of prestige TV from back in the day when it was still in its nascent form. And almost every single Lost episode for the first 2 or 3 seasons was interspersed with flashbacks. Joe, what is more anime than a tragic flashback backstory? There's none at all.
No, unless it happens right before a bout.
Yeah. But yeah, Black Sails all throughout season 2. The first half, we see the backstory of our main character and see how he was a good man, but then he had to fall to piracy because his love was denied by Britain. Can you believe that? Britain.
You said something about resolve earlier, and it got me thinking. They both feature heavily. So, like, Tom, what's an example of, like, anime resolve?
Oh, that's like wanting to be the king of the wizards.
Yeah. And I think Deadwood had the same amount of resolve, and it was when Al Swearingen had that kidney stone, and he had to push it out, and, like, there was, like, blood coming out of his eye, and, like, his bedpan a little bit, too, and everyone was like, you can piss, Al, you can do it. It was fucked up. Anyway, that's resolve.
It's the same shit.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, your normal run-of-the-mill milquetoast American shows are not going to have that level of passion. That's anime passion.
Like, for real though, like the plot element of Al has a kidney stone, and it's after the Civil War, so like you're fucked.
Yeah. Okay, Joe. You know, I'm just trying to picture an opponent in my mind who's giving me bullshit counter arguments and how I can refute them to prove myself to be the genius. I'm thinking that someone might say, it's possible that someone would say this. Well, what prestige TV has that anime doesn't is great performances, like real acting. Anime is just some sort of light, fluffy cartoon filler, whereas in prestige TV, we have some of our best thespians who are given real meaty roles to work with and develop over seasons. Like
people making their sternest faces.
Like, I'll tell you, there's a lot about Mr. Robot that doesn't work and sucks, and it's very silly. That said, Rami Malek is like fucking dynamite in this show. He is so good. His performance is like stunning. and it only gets better. There's the episode near the end of season 4 where he just like gonna make you cry. He blows it out of the water. He's so good.
You sound like one of those like butchered pull quotes on the back of a DVD box. It's just like Rami Malek ... is stunning ... Tom, the anime sicko.
It's true. I'll sign on to that. Here's the thing, Joe. Here's how you square that circle. Good acting, that's just Sakuga. You know that part in an anime where there's like a big fight and all of a sudden the animation gets crazy fluid and like the camera movements get all nutty and like there's so many explosion effects and it's like when fucking Broly and Goku are fighting or some shit and you're like, wow, that's incredible. Why can't it be that the whole show? That's how I feel like when Rami Malek makes his skull look like that because he's very stern.
Did you ever play the Rami Malek simulator Until Dawn?
I'm sorry, what?
It's not actually a Rami Malek simulator. I'm being a dumb idiot. It was a PS4 game where it's like a horror movie in, I don't know, I guess it's like is it the Pacific Northwest? Anyway, it's like a cold, remote, wintry place, and it's a horror movie, and the big monster are these Wendigos, and the game you play is basically you're playing the horror movie, whereas like if you fuck up, like characters just die, and then they're like not there at the end, and he's like the main character, by which I mean like that's his head, like you see his mouth. That's Mr. Robot.
Fuck?
Yeah, you can look it up.
Mr. Robot's in a video game?
Yeah.
Okay, well now this is my argument's made for me. You know how there's so many fucking Dragon Ball video games? Well, they made a Mr. Robot game. There's anime games.
Yeah. This is Bandai bullshit.
It's exactly that. Jesus Christ. God damn. I think I've made my case. Prestige TV is anime. If anyone tries to step to me disagreeing, well, I'll simply refute that this was just a comedy segment. I don't actually care.
I don't actually believe anything.
Yeah, no, I was faking. I mean, it's kind of anime-like. It's very silly. People take it too seriously. They get... You know what another thing is... You know how anime characters constantly have to have outfit changes, you know, so that they can like make new merchandise of like now the character is wearing different clothes, and they have to make cool outfits and the people want to buy them. That's like, remember when everyone was losing their fucking minds over the Fleabag jumpsuit? I remember that shit. People were talking about that jumpsuit more than the show. And like I would see every day like links to the store where you could buy it, like where they got it for the show. And I'm just like, that's exactly like when One Piece comes out with like new figures. Now everyone's in their Wano clothes.
I didn't know. I understand the analogy now that I looked it up, but I didn't know what the fuck you were talking about.
Well, Joe, that's just another instance of it's impenetrable to outsiders.
I was thinking like a Rusty Venture jumpsuit. This is like a socialite thing, right?
Yeah, this is a horny jumpsuit for trying to fuck.
Yeah. A speed suit has to have a lot of bag in the crotch.
It has to crotch 6 inches below your natural inseam. That's such a throwaway line in the Venture Brothers, which is like the implications of it are fucking staggering. Just if you just stop to visualize, like, what would my pants look like?
It's a onesie diaper.
Oh, fuck. And Joe, I think the final data point that I think is really gonna connect the dots here and prove beyond a doubt that Prestige TV is anime. You think about anime, one thing that anime has is endings. Well, not all the time. A lot of animes end. And, well, what's one word you would use to describe the average anime ending?
It's bad, rushed, it sucks.
Yeah, that's true. I agree completely. That's Prestige TV, folks. You remember Lost? That ended very, very badly. You recall, I mean, even Mr. Robot, which I love, which like its ending is very much planned in advance. Like it was always known how it was going to end, and they did lead up to it, and it was pretty much done as ideally as it could have been. That still kind of sucked. Like it didn't really. Like, it's kind of felt weird. The pacing was all crazy. A lot of stuff that took up a lot more time in like the second and third season. Kind of like the main focus of the show if you just look at it by screen time. That shit actually wasn't important. And it's like, yeah, that's an anime ending for sure.
Never been horny. Never been horny. Don't tell the paper that I ever got horny.
Joe, I brought this up to you a while ago, and I want to talk about it on the show. And this is a topic that came to my attention because, with the Anbernic, it's got so many fucking emulators on it. You're able to play games from systems that you've never even like thought about, like the fucking PC Engine and the Neo Geo, and like the Sega 3DX and shit. And it's like, what the hell? Like, you don't even know what games are on there. So like, I don't know what's good. So you got to go online and look up like best Neo Geo games so that like you know what to try out so that you don't like get an absolute dud. And one thing that I kept noticing over and over on these lists of like these are the good games to play on obscure systems is that like fucking half of them were shoot 'em ups. Half of them were games where you play as a little airplane.
The perfect game, yeah.
You say it's the perfect game. Speak on that.
So the reason I like shoot 'em ups, shumps,
Shmups.
Shumps. Shoots. But the reason I like shoot 'em ups is the shooting doesn't matter. You're actually dodging. Like you're just holding down shoot. Like just it doesn't matter. The actual game you're doing is it just throws a bunch of visual information at you that you have to sort. That's the game. And I find it very how do I put this? Like open-ended and creative because like you have to find paths in all of this chaos. And that to me is the appeal. And like there's something about that level of stimulus where it's just like I see why you could just make 100 of these, like 1943, 1944. With these very small changes, the core concept is still very appealing to me because if the game is just sorting information, which is how I feel about it, all of these different games are just like, all right, well, we're just scattering a bunch of shit for you to pick up. Go for it.
Okay, that's interesting. That's a good perspective. I see where you're coming from. My perspective, after playing a few of these, because they were on the fucking site saying that these were the good games, is that shmups are a fake game. They're the impossible game. No one can play them, and they're the cruelest games ever made, and they exist to torment you. Because Joe, you mentioned like, oh, there's this visual chaos, and all you have to do is sort it. You have to be like a leaf in the wind and find nirvana. Just become calm and path through the chaos. Find the order in the noise. Now, what happens to me, Joe, is I'm like, all right, here I go. Level 1. Okay. So the little guy. Oh, I shot the little guys. Great. Cool. Oh, there's a guy over here. I better make sure. And then I get hit by something that I didn't see. And when I say didn't see, I don't mean I didn't see coming. Like if you put a piece of paper in front of me and said, write down what killed you, I would like cry and be like, but sir, I can't. 'Cause my fucking little baby, especially because a lot of these games are getting recommended because their graphics are so good. There's so many that have like incredible backgrounds and lots of animations and lots of effects on screen. And I'm supposed to look at all that, but the thing I really am supposed to care about is a little bullet that's like 4 pixels wide that's just like through the screen, and I get hit. That's the real fucking thing, Joe, is that you get hit once and you die. That shit's awful.
Oh, you want a life bar?
I want a life bar. Are you kidding me?
You want a life bar? So one of the things you said when you were complaining was this phrase. You said, I get hit by something I don't see. You said that, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what the word in that phrase that is the problem that's keeping you from the true path?
No. Why would I
the
know
word-
that? Are you kidding? Like, if I knew... Shut up.
It's the word I, Tom. You have your ego still.
Fuck.
You need to let go of it. So when you're playing a shoot 'em up and you're like in the zone, like you should not experience body sensations. You should not. You should basically be in a coma except for your fingers.
I get it, and I understand. It's just like it's so hard for me to get into that space because it's like I'm coming to this as like a wide-eyed babe, being like, "Hello, game. I'd like to have fun on your terms. I'm ready." And then the game is just like stomping in my face and like spitting in the hole where my eye used to be, because not only do you die in one hit, but also like, you only have like 2 or 3 lives per credit. And these games start you off with like 3 credits, like you're at the arcade. But here's the thing, at the arcade, like, you can bring more quarters. When you have the game, it's like, you only own 3 quarters, bitch. Make the most of it. And I'm just like, I don't, but so what happens is I use all my continues on like level 1 and the first half of level 2, and then I try again and the same thing happens, and then I'm just like, this sucks. Especially because, especially when they're one of those ones where you get like pickups and can power up, because a twofold thing occurs. The more power-ups you get, the more shit's coming out of your fucking plane. And
yeah,
the
you have more information. You like that's part of it. It's like when you're really firing at all cylinders, you are really punishing yourself with more visual noise.
Yeah, and here's the thing. So I'm like, oh great, I got my power ups, and now I'm really kicking ass. But it's a little tough. I'll manage though. What happens is inevitably I get hit by something I didn't see, like fucking 5 seconds in. And you know what really sucks is there's every once in a while there's a shmup where if you touch the top or bottom of the screen, you instantly die. It's not always the case. Sometimes it is. It's always fun when you discover you're playing one of those games. Because you're just like, oh, I need to go up to get over this bullet, and you just explode, and you're like, oh, okay. Anyway, I die instantly, and I respawn with one of my limited lives, and I'm back to bitch mode, and my plane is shooting like one bullet, and it does 0 damage, and it's like, okay, so the game is like, hello, can you solve my challenge? And I die, thereby proving to the game, no. And the game's like, well, how about try this? Same challenge, more difficult. And I'm just like, I bet I'm going to die again.
I truly don't see how you can get through all of Sekiro and, become one with the blade and not have any overlap whatsoever into this shoot 'em up. Because, like, both things, all these bullets and there's all this dodging, and then Sekiro, which is the impossible sword rhythm game, are equally cognitively demanding as far as I'm concerned. And the fact that you are so incompatible with one, not the other, is crazy to me, because I couldn't do Sekiro. I couldn't do the I guess, like, the rhythm aspect of it, probably.
Yeah, you couldn't do the parrying, which you have to do to play the game. So, Joe, this is interesting, because when we were talking about this first, you used a phrase that when I saw it, my eyes popped out, and I had to, like, put a big crank in my ear and crank it to suck my eyes back in, because I could not believe what I was reading. You said that Sekiro was as unforgiving as shmups. Do you agree that you said that?
I do. Watching, like, the insane boss fights for Sekiro, and I compare that to, like, flying around my little guy plane, an experience I've had many times. I see Sekiro as something so much more difficult.
That is okay. There's a difference between difficult and unforgiving, Joe. Because I'll throw you the bone. Yeah, they're just as difficult as each other. Maybe Sekiro's even more difficult. I don't think that, but I'll say it for the sake of this argument. What is patently, provably false is that Sekiro is as unforgiving as a shoot 'em up. Sekiro, and really all the Souls games, people don't really understand this. But when you play a bunch of them, you come to realize this. They are absurdly forgiving. Like, here's why, Joe. For one, this should end the conversation right now. You have a health bar in Sekiro, and also you have healing. So you can get hit a bunch, drink from your gourd, get hit a bunch, drink from your gourd, get hit a bunch, and you're still alive. In a shmup, a fucking little fucking doodad I didn't see hits me, and all of my progress goes away. Secondly, in Sekiro and in all the Souls games, when you die, you just start over again pretty nearby, and it's fine. Like you. One of the keys to a Souls game is you stop being afraid of dying, because you realize, oh, when I die, nothing bad happens. Like it's absolutely forgiving in the sense that, like, death is not really a problem. You can just try again, and it's fine. In Sekiro, say I die fighting the Guardian Ape 20 times in a row. Each time I get a little bit better, but, I still have to try again and again. Well, so be it. There's a fucking checkpoint right next to his goddamn boss arena. It takes me 5 seconds to try again. Let's say I die on the boss of, like, the 3rd level of a shoot 'em up. It fucking deletes my save, Joe. My save goes away.
Yeah, but they just play again, because it's all fun. It's all fun.
So is Sekiro. Sekiro's all fun too, but I wouldn't want to play the whole thing to get back to try the ape again.
To me, it sounds like Sekiro isn't that fun then.
Oh, you bitch. Here's another thing. Here's another difference. Sekiro, it requires so much focus. I couldn't do that. Well, here's the thing, Joe. When I'm playing Sekiro, at any given time, I need to be looking at one thing, the samurai who's standing directly in front of me, and eventually I will learn all of the things he can do, and then I am able to respond to them. In a shoot 'em up, no matter how good I can be, no matter how good I get, there's always just the chance that it's basically like Where's Waldo, the game, but if you don't find Waldo in like 10 seconds, someone kicks you in the fucking nuts. Like, I could just not see Waldo, And then, boom, a guy blows up, and it's like, you bitch, you dumbass, why didn't you avoid that bullet? And I'm like, I don't know. And I feel like a dumbass, and I lose all my lives, and I go back to the start. I don't like going back to the start.
This is where we're built different, because the start is also the easiest part of these shoot 'em ups, where you can really feel good again, where you can like really crush it. So here's the way I look at it: you get sent back to the beginning. You just got your pants pulled down. You got humiliated. It sucks. But wait a minute, you're back at the start. You know how to beat this boss. This is momentum building. You're actually a good gamer. You know how to do this, and that's the loop.
No, yeah, we are built different, because what you've just described is hellish to me. If there's something that I want to try again, putting another task in front of my next try is basically just a guarantee that by the time I get back to try it again, I will have forgotten everything. Like, I will have forgotten 90% of the shit I learned from the last attempt. So,
You're talking about tasks like losing to a boss. Fighting a boss is a discrete task. There's only one task, and it's to move your little guy in between the bullets. Just because there was a boss on the screen doesn't mean that was the task. That was just what was around. Your objective from the jump is hold down fire and go around the bullets.
yeah.
You're overstinking it when you're thinking about bosses and stuff. You're like, what if the boss does something I don't recognize? It's like, well, the whole game should be something you don't recognize.
Well, okay, Joe, I think here's a good counterexample, is that you're saying, like, oh, all this shit, you should just live with it. It's fine. It's not cruel when the game does this. Well, let's take, as an example, Metal Slug, which all of them are on the Neo Geo, and those games are fucking gorgeous. There's no game in the universe with better sprite animation and sprite art than Metal Slug.
Yeah.
That's a very fun shoot 'em up, because here's the thing, Joe. Let's say I lose all my lives and die. You know what I do? I press yes when it says continue, and I have an infinite number, and then I get to the end, and it shows I did an embarrassing number of continues. And then what I do, you know what I do? And I play the whole game again, and my number of continues goes down. And I'm like, boy, I can't wait for that number to get even smaller still as I get better. But every time I play, I'm allowed to play the game. Other games, I play the game a little bit, and the game's just like, you bitch, you suck. You can't play this game. And it like kicks me out. And I'm like, but I was about to say, but I bought the game. I did not buy the game. I stole the game. But I stole you fair and square. You see my conundrum.
Yeah. Metal Slug's sort of in a league of its own.
Yeah. It's different from most shoot 'em ups in that you can't hold the button down. For every trigger pull, you have to hit it again.
Yeah, and also the power-ups like have ammo, so you wouldn't want to be doing that anyway.
Yeah. Power-ups are so fucking cool. God.
That's fundamentally why I think I was first interested in shoot 'em ups as a kid in arcades, because it's like, I want to drive over the big letter B. And then I want to then maybe drive over the letter L and have a laser.
I love how the announcer says rocket launcher.
Launcher.
Well, Joe, here's another thing. This is just me. This is just my brain causing this problem. I recognize this is an entirely Tom problem and not a systemic problem. I have this thing where if my brain recognizes that a certain behavior in the near future would really just suck for me if I did that, I'm gonna do that. Case in point, the most obvious and frequent example of this is whenever I really need to get a lot of sleep and wake up early. Like if I have some appointment in the morning that I have to be like alert for, when I'm getting ready for bed, I will think to myself, it would suck so fucking bad if I couldn't get to sleep. Now, Joe, I never have insomnia. I've never struggled with it. I can always get to sleep really easily and have very restful sleep. I'm very lucky in that way. The only time that this is not true is when I think to myself, it would suck if I couldn't get to sleep. And when this happens, I will and have spend all night not getting to sleep. thinking to myself, I can't fucking believe I'm not going to sleep. This is the one thing I wanted not to do. And the way this translates to shoot 'em ups is when I get a cool power up, I don't know what causes it. I guess my death drive just flares up because the chances that I'm going to get shot with a very stupid, avoidable bullet right after getting a power up is like 10,000 times higher than at any other time.
This is the same phenomenon that happened when we played Smash Brothers, and you'd be like winning by 2 stocks, and you'd be like, all I gotta do is not get hit by 2 fully charged DK punches, and you don't stick the landing.
Yeah. You know what it feels like? You ever see that Bob's Burgers episode where Bob lets Tina drive the car in the parking lot and it's empty except for one other car that's like very far away? And she's just
Yes.
obsessed with, like, she can't keep her eyes off the other car because, like, wouldn't it suck if I hit the other car? And she just hits it because she's like, I didn't know how to avoid it. That's how it is with, like, big, stupid fucking attacks that would fucking destroy me to get hit by. I have to get hit by them. Okay. Joe, I mentioned Metal Slug was like, that's a more fun shmup because it wasn't so cruel to me. And I had a second example of a shoot 'em up game that was like really fun, and it let me play the game. It didn't kick me out of the game because I made a few little mistakes. Because a little mistake is the worst mistake you can make in a shoot 'em up. If you touch something at all, you have fucked up the maximum amount. And so I'm a guy who makes a lot of little mistakes, so I fuck up the maximum amount and die. One that was really cool and fun and unique and forgiving was Ikaruga for the Dreamcast, where you're a little black and white ship. You're like the Cookie from New York. You can switch between being a black ship and a white ship, and when you're a black ship, you can suck up black bullets and kill white ships. And when you're a white ship, well, I'm not going to say it out loud. It sounds weird when I say it out loud. You know how it goes. And when you suck up enough bullets of the color that you are, you fill up your meter, and then you can shoot out a huge screen-spanning salvo of homing missiles that wreck everything and do massive damage. And occasionally, there will be so many bullets on the screen that it's literally impossible to avoid them. You just have to be switching colors so that when you get hit with the bullets, you're getting hit with the good bullets and not the kill you bullets. And it's honestly very fun. That switching color mechanic adds a lot of strategy and replayability to the game, especially because like you do more damage to the enemies that are the opposite color of you, but also the bullets they shoot can hurt you, so you have to avoid them. But like maybe you can play chicken and then switch to the color right at the last second and suck them all up. It's pretty fun, and when you get a game over, you just do a continue. It's fine, and honestly, it doesn't really take that much to fill up one of your meters to shoot out the missiles. So if you remember to use your missiles when you have them, it's actually not that hard. You can clear screens pretty easily. Then I was thinking to myself, how does this combo system work? I don't really understand it. You know what I'll do? I'll watch some gameplay footage on YouTube. And then I noticed that whereas I had a little icon that said 99 times next to my little UI, the people on YouTube had a 4. And I also noticed that, when I shoot my missiles, the meter stayed full. When the people on YouTube shot their missiles, it went down to 0. And it occurred to me that I think the Anbernic came with a hacked ROM of Ikaruga where you have infinite lives and infinite missiles. And I downloaded a fresh ROM of Ikaruga, and that shit's insanely hard, and it's really I always die before I have a full charge of missiles, and you only have like 10 lives, and then it kicks you out of the game. So
I had the same shit happen to me with the Mario Kart remake for the Switch that was originally on the Wii U. I was playing online, and because it's Nintendo, they don't want kids to play online or ever have a good time, I guess. They default it so, like, if you're playing online, you have, like, the training wheels on, which is auto steering.
Yeah.
So you have, like, this little...
It's literally impossible for you to not be on the track, to go on the slow grass or what have you.
Right. Anyway, I didn't know it had this on by default. So I played for an afternoon, and I was like, man, I haven't gotten like lower than third, like all afternoon.
Joe, you're the master.
Yeah, and then I was wondering why there was like this little red light on the back of my car, and that is to signify to other players that I'm a baby.
Yeah, that's the little antenna that mommy is using to remote control your car for you, because you would fuck it up if you were driving yourself.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh shit, okay, I'll turn it off. And then, man, I didn't fucking brake like fifth.
Playing Mario Kart online is so fun because you have a great experience, the classic Mario Kart experience, of realizing halfway through the race that this shit is essentially fucking craps. You're just playing the dice. There's no strategy involved unless you're like a savant and you can like get in first and be so far ahead that even a blue shell won't let someone pass you. But like, what are the
I'm
chances
convinced
you're one of those?
that if you actually want to win, the game is to like be in second for most of it.
Yeah, but that whole Mario Kart experience is usually tempered by the fact that you're like playing with your homies in a dorm. And like when wacky stuff happens and you lose 10 places because you got hit by like 3 shells in a row that you couldn't possibly have avoided, you can laugh it off because it was your buddy sitting next to you who did it, and you'll get him just as good as he got you next race. When you're playing with fucking strangers who you can't talk to, they're just me's walking around the black void between bouts. You just feel like, what is this all for? Like, what's the purpose of this?
As they strain against the confines of language because they keep saying, I'm using tilt controls. What are they trying to say?
I'm using tilt controls. Fuck. Folks, I think that's all the time we have for Anime Sickos this week. This was a fun return to form after episode 101. A classic Anime Sickos style experience, I think.
I agree.
Yeah, it's good to revisit your roots and see that you still got it. You can still hit a dinger when it's put up in the strike zone.
The thing is, we only hit dingers though, so like it wasn't in question.
Yeah, fair enough. It's just we haven't hit this particular time. Like we've been hitting to right field.
Yeah,
lately.
there you go. That's the thing.
It's like, can we still hit to left field? Yeah, we can. That's a beautiful sight. All right. Thank you for listening. Up in Town and Anime Sicko.
I've been Joe, an Anime Sicko.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, a sicko. You can follow me on Twitter at TomHarrison19. Joe is also a sicko. You can follow him on Twitter at ShariaUncle. You can follow Anime Sickos on Twitter at Anime Sickos or email us at animesickos@gmail.com. Please leave us a review or something. I don't know. Tell a friend. Anyway, until next time, bye.